My kids are away.
Oh,
It's just me by myself right now, and I'm like, I'm gonna feel like a bachelor and eat these pizza rolls. This is amazing.
nice.
I don't have to make supper right now.
Edible.
All right, boys. Well, I figure we're gonna do a little update on our buddy Joe Pichler is what I was calling him, but it's Pickler,
This is the young actor fellow.
the young actor fellow who starred alongside of Jesse Plemons in that Kids on Their Birthdays movie and other things. Beethoven's.
Before we get too far into this, I want to know, did you read that recent zip that I uploaded?
All the emails? Is that
Yeah.
what it was? I skimmed them. It's just a bunch of repeating emails. I didn't.
But I searched one. It was the first one that popped up, and I'm like, I've never fucking heard this story. What?
There's
It's a
a lot.
completely different theory. Yeah.
There's a lot in there that isn't really reported on. So just to give a little bit of backstory for everyone. So this Pickler, it's Pickler. Let's start there. I'll just start with that. It's Pickler. I was making fun of everyone who called it Pickler on the internet. I was saying they're idiots. I'm the idiot. It's fucking Pickler.
This is very brave of you.
I know, very brave. After that episode, Rick went autistic and went, I don't like that there's nothing in the media, so I'm going to get a FOIA request and I'm going to get all the
No, I said I
information."
feel like there's a lot more details that aren't out in the media.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Rick went and got a FOIA and then just like put it on a drive and then it just sat there. I don't know if Rick went over it.
For anyone listening, a FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act.
Yes. And a lot of cases, they'll give you most things. There's a lot of redacted stuff in this too, but it's mostly just like people's names or photos that aren't really involved in it, just like suspects. Nothing to like social insurance number or social security numbers is what you guys call them, right? So stuff like that it wasn't anything. It's not like there's like 10 pages of redacted stuff. You're like, what's in the redacted? It's a photo of someone who has nothing to do with anything. So I don't know if that FOIA has been out anywhere else. I will probably dump a bunch of the files on the episode for this if anybody wants to go like skim through it. It was a lot. The FOIA came back with 3 different PDFs, each of them with about 500 pages each, which I all read. I read those ones first because Rick just got a little bit more with emails. That's what he's talking about. He got another thing 2 days ago, I think he put it up. So I didn't get a chance to go through all of that, but I did go through all the other stuff. And I'll tell you right off the bat, everyone, fuck if it's boring. Like I had a hard fucking time going through this. God, so much repeated shit. But there is a lot of stuff that we could probably talk about.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Let's do it. Let's talk about some of this. Did you go over any of it? I know RJ didn't, or did you? Did you peek into it, RJ?
No, I did not.
And Rick was like super into it, so I'm just curious. Did you actually?
Yeah, I watched the not really interrogation videos, but just like the questioning videos of different suspects. I don't really remember their names. None of them stood out to me as someone I would focus on.
We'll get to those guys in a bit, but they're just basically like fucking meth heads that are like, I heard something on the streets about Joe Pickler. And then they went into an interview with the police. 2 guys. One of them's pretty like, whatever, fuck that guy, I don't care. I used to date Joe's sister, so they kind of like recorded it. It was about a half hour long. The other one though, fucking full of hilarity. We're gonna have to get into him in a little bit. The whole fucking interview is amazing. Rick was sending me clips of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, no. I'm watching the
Yeah,
whole
no,
thing.
that guy got some interesting shit to say. It's got nothing to do with this, but yeah.
We're gonna listen to a good portion of that today. So I didn't really go make a huge script for this. I kind of just wanted to speak for itself in a lot of ways, but I do want to talk about a couple things. I want you guys to like mention. So first thing I wrote on my little mini script here, it's not really a full script, is it's Pickler. So I fucked up there. I already said that. Next thing, they have photos of the car, of the suicide note, all that stuff. So let me pop that up for you so you guys can actually kind of look at some of these. All right, you guys want to do the photos first? You want to look at the suicide note? Because we talked about all that stuff in the previous episode. If you guys don't know where you're going, go back a couple episodes, listen to the other episode, and then come back here.
Or don't try to piece it together backwards. That'd be fun too.
Yeah, that's actually kind of fun.
It's your
Yeah,
own-
do that.
It's your own DIY mystery.
Yeah, this is like private, your own personal private dicks. You could be your own private dick.
Choose your own dick.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, this was a lot. Like this, I'm about to share the suicide note, and I go suicide note because I don't really. You guys tell me. This was buried in like 500 other pages of PDFs, like or a PDF of 500 pages. This was supposedly found in the passenger seat underneath the folded, like cleaned laundry that Pickler had in his front seat when they found his car. And like some of it's upside down, some of it's right side up. It's all over the place, one corner and then another corner. It looks like to me someone wrote in four different occasions, four different things just on a scrap of paper. Do you know what I mean? When you grab something, you write something and then you pick up the paper again and then write on it again later on.
Oh no, did they find his brainstorming sessions?
Yeah, for
Suicide
real.
note?
Dude's brainstorming a song, and they're like,
That's so embarrassing.
Well, that's what it looks like, right? Am I right? I guess
yeah, 100%. 100%.
they said that he said this whole big thing about how he's leaving all his possessions to his brother AJ or Matthew.
I just want to say, when I first opened this, the first thing I thought was, how the hell am I going to get this converted to something I can read? Did not realize some of it was upside down until you just said that. So for anyone listening, that's how bad this is. It does just look like a bunch of random scribbles with some words every so often.
I like how your brain, Rick, works in like such like a solvy way. You saw upside down letters and immediately thought of a code. You had to decipher.
No, I just saw, I didn't realize it was flipped. I just saw a wall of text and I was like, my ass ain't trying to struggle through reading this in the way it's written. So I was thinking, how can I convert it? But I never came back to this because it just never stuck as something that was important.
What would be crazy is if you never ever got around to seeing it was upside down and you did somehow successfully like map out a codex to correctly interpret it.
It's just like GPS coordinates.
Guys, I got it. I spent 36 hours on this. 12 doing it and then another 24 just making sure. And then it's like,
that's the exact same
sorry,
thing.
man.
Oh, that's fucking funny. So, okay, I'll just read you the kind of the stuff that's on here. Like I said, if anybody's interested in Joe Pickler case and hasn't seen any of this stuff, I will post all of this. It's page 21 on the first PDF one. So on the top left of this, it says the only reason I think that's supposed to say stayed alive was for the sake of loved ones. Okay.
Yeah, he's got bad handwriting and
Oh, I thought it said loudness. I thought it was like a screamo song. Like that's where my brain went. I was
can't let things get too quiet out there. That old Joey.
Yeah, and that's the top left of the page. And I'm just gonna work my way down on the left side, and then I'm gonna work my right way to the right hand side of the page. So then upside down in the middle of the page, it says even when. What the fuck does that say? Even
what's the
when
next word?
go done. I don't know what the fuck that says.
I thought you had a flipped version you were reading off.
No, I don't.
Everyone. Yeah, he's like missing. Hold on.
Even when go dead, deprived of
air to everyone else barely there. So it's a poem.
yeah.
Even when go dead. He says go dead. Even when I'm dead, maybe that's supposed to say. Even when I'm dead, deprived of air to everyone else barely there. Okay. Whatever. It's just this guy writes poetry, by the way. We all talked about that before, so it rhymes. To me, that could just be like a sad poem. Bottom left of the page, it's right side up. It says everything I have goes to Matthews, Hart, Sarah Brockman, ... 4 dots. Matthew, AJ. I was to anything for you. I have not loved more in my life. You were my all underscored. Underlined older brother. This is for you only, none else. I wish I was a stronger brother for you. And then it's kind of cut off. I don't think there's much else after that. So there's where they think, honestly, this part here of the letter is, I think this is where they think this is the suicide note. Cool. Maybe. Then you flip it over. Then you go up to the top. Both these ones are upside down, top right. Then you get to like, is this actually a suicide note? Because unfinished thoughts, keep them close to heart. Hope they will feel whole, but maybe not. It is the reason I'm alive, but what is it? What is that? Confused, intrigued, unsure, reprocated? What do you think that word is? Replicated?
Yeah, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, all with question marks, the last four words. And then the last thing he has on here is I feel it, I know it soon. I wrote it.
I think
Wrote
ironic.
ironic impending doom. So I feel it, I know it soon. Ironic impending doom. I've said it to be for in my room, sadness, gloom. It's like just bad poetry. That's all.
Okay, but I feel like all poetry is bad poetry.
That's true. That's fair.
So it's
I
spot
think
on.
it's only good because someone else tells you it's good, and you're like, oh, okay.
Songs are poetry. Do you think all songs are bad? Not all songs are
If
poetry,
someone
but
said them like poetry, yeah,
I guess yeah, if you don't add the music, it's just trashy poetry. That's true.
yeah, yep. Even the best song lyrics, you're like, wow, that was really cool. It's only clever because they figured out how to make it like go to the rhythm of the music.
Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Yeah, that's some fucking like grade school type fucking poetry.
It's true.
It's like a horny eighth grader wrote Paradise. That's Axl Rose, a horny eighth grader.
Axl Rose. So that exists. That's out in the world. They said there's 2 pages. If there's 2 pages of this somewhere, I don't fucking know where it is. I can't find the other page. So they only put one inside of
Wow,
this
they only
group.
photocopied one side. That's crazy.
That could be it. They just threw it through the scanner. Just that was it. Like a big stack.
God
They don't even
damn.
know. Well, that could be honestly. I think that's what happened with this case with all these packets because like a lot of it's not in chronological order. It's just as if someone gathered it like from their
Someone
desk.
scanned
Like,
it at a later time.
well,
Probably.
when you have a case file, I would assume as you're going, it just stays in order, right? Like you would just. But it looks like someone had it
Who
all laid
knows?
out
That
on a
just
desk. They
gets
went,
thrown into an
"Fine, you want
evidence
it?"
room.
They
It's
just like
mixed up.
Let me tell you, man, the only people there's no one worse at their job than someone whose only job is to scan shit into a computer.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's fucking insane. Like, and I used to like I worked with them. They would be like, you just have to put it in there. They would do shit like because they didn't know how the computer worked, they would print shit off and then they would only print it off out of their email so that they could scan it into the software separately because they didn't know how to just move the attachment. So like in the system, like you just have these like incredibly degraded files because they've been like emailed and scanned like 3 times.
I'm not shocked. Like that makes
Yeah, that's all they had to do,
yeah,
but you couldn't do it right.
but like that's why they have that job. It's because it's all they can do.
Uh, 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 uh.
This next one here, we'll just go through the crime scene photos because they have all the photos. I'll just show you. I'll just go through them all real quick because why not? There's not like super lots. The reason I'm doing this is the mom, like Kathy Pichler, she said that the police didn't really do anything. And to me, we'll talk about that in a bit, but like, I don't know, at a certain point, like what else are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? Can you guys see that, or should I just open them all each individually?
They actually sent us one that has his entire cell phone contact list. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and honestly,
Don't show that.
no, they redact all of it, like a lot of it.
There's a lot of phone numbers here. Like I can see both of his parents' phone number.
Well, call them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like definitely don't show that if you see that. It's not in these images.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure when they took these because they claim I'm assuming it's the day they found the car, which is like 4 days later. But like the family's claiming they didn't look at anything until way later on. They didn't do any, and they're also claiming this is the passenger side of the vehicle, and they're saying there's puke on the floorboards. Do you see puke?
No, but it could be under there. Like
Yeah, it looks like there's something gross on the bottom of the seat down there, like right on the floor
Oh,
before the
yeah,
floor
right
mat.
there. Can you see
Yeah.
my cursor? Is it right there where
Yeah.
I'm pointing? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it
This
looks
is-
puke-esque.
This is like the driver's side. It's got $17 or whatever inside of the little change
Yeah, and you know
case
what?
there.
Because you see that floor mat and the other one. The other one looks like it might be like a towel and not actually the floor mat.
Yeah, it's like something on the ground or something black, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like it might be like a towel or a blanket or something, and not the floor mat.
Yep, so it could be just covered up, whatever puke was
Mhm.
there for sure.
Mhm.
Driver's seat. The back seat, there's an empty case of beer with a empty beer can in the back seat cup holder and some like laundry. And I don't know what else is there.
Do you have a picture showing what's in the front cup holder?
Yeah. This is just where the car was. Now they're claiming that there was a black glove outside on the ground, but like this picture's clearly taken at night with no flash and you can't see the ground at all. So is there a black glove? No. Yes. I don't know.
Did anyone try to put it on O.J. Simpson's hand?
Yeah, exactly. This is the other side of the vehicle. There's the license plate. There's the license plate again. Now this one's the brightest one on the outside. I can't see any glove, but it's still not very like. I feel like you should have taken the picture. Like I get where the parents are coming from at a certain point. Like I feel like you could have taken better pictures. You could have waited till like dawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At least.
Yeah. You know, that car right now, probably like $10,000 to buy that.
Yeah.
I bet.
What do you mean? Why? Because it's
It's a fucking Toyota. It's
I
a
was gonna say.
Corolla. Yeah. You can't find an old Toyota anywhere. They're out there, but like not for like
Not for-
prices that you would
not
want
for
to
a high
pay.
school kid.
Exactly. Yeah. The kids, they're not getting those anymore. You're better off buying like a fucking like 2018 Kia Soul for your 16-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So we're at this is just a higher angle of the driver's side. This is with the money that's in there. It looks like there's like a little like the pictures are actually terrible. Like the flash is either not enough or too much. Like you can't even see what kind of bill that is. That's how fucking bad the flash is. And then this is his like laundry. They said it was a laundry basket filled with clean clothes in the articles. This is like a suitcase or something with like that doesn't look like clean clothes.
A fitted bed sheet on top or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Maybe
And-
maybe it was a kimono.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it
maybe.
was. The back seat on the other side. Well, I guess this is just a higher angle of it. You kind of see some trash in the back there. There's a burnt CD.
I appreciate this because they know they're a bad photographer, so they're taking multiple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're getting the different angle from the opposite side. You can see there is some, I guess, brand new linen, like a brand new fucking blanket or something. It still looks like it's wrapped.
That looks like he got that for Christmas, like just
Yeah.
a default gift and never opened it.
Yeah. There's the other side. Now you can kind of see like the underneath the, like, I guess, see where you said it looks like a mat? See, that might be puke. You might be right.
Because maybe that is a floor mat. He's just got two different fucking floor mats.
Yeah, it's a floor mat.
It could just be the
it's
flash
light.
changing
Yeah,
the
it's
color.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. It is the same.
And then this is the trunk
Oh,
where they said all was filled with all sorts of magic cards. And there were magic cards everywhere. Remember that part of the thing?
yeah.
I don't see a fucking magic card in there.
No,
But-
I don't either.
Unless it's in that box.
No, what happens is when I read through this, the magic cards are there. They're just buried underneath all of this stuff. So what I'm saying is no one rifled through the magic cards after the case underneath all this
Well,
stuff.
I mean, they could have,
I guess.
and that
but
could be
like,
why only some were missing, not all of them.
could be. Could be.
Can I tell you that I would also kill myself if my trunk looked like that? I would never want to clean that.
Yeah, it's full of like, just for everyone, it's got like it's not even trash, just stuff. It's just like
What is that thing? Kenwood what?
it's a printer, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a printer box. It's not even a printer, it's like the box for a printer. And like there's some RC Cola.
Hey, Western Family Cola.
I don't blame him. I don't know what to do with a printer box when I'm done with it.
And no, but that's what I mean. It's this stuff.
Oh no, it's a
like,
Kenwood Exelon, which is like a stereo head unit.
Oh.
This is like, yeah, this is looking more and more like drugs.
this trunk is like it's just stuff that you don't have a place for, you know? Like that's what it looks like to me. It's just like I'll just keep it in there because I don't know what else I'm gonna do with it. It's not necessarily
No.
trash. Some of it is,
No,
but-
I don't do that.
I mean, there's some trash there.
for sure. But like
I'd be willing to bet that 12 pack of cola is completely empty.
Yeah,
Is
and what
this-
is that orb in the middle?
is that a Heisman trophy? Like
Yeah,
what the
that-
fuck
No, I
is
think
that?
it almost looks like some sort of piggy bank, but
I was gonna say it looks
can't-
like someone's ashes.
It does. It looks like an urn.
It's
It
like
could
an
be an
urn.
urn.
Yeah.
Oh, or is it it's a coconut and it's got plastic wrap over top of it like he just bought a coconut at a store.
Yeah, that actually looks more like a coconut.
That's
now you
exactly
say
what
that.
that is.
What the fuck?
It's as if like a prepackaged coconut milk or some shit.
What? That's so weird. But yeah, it's a fucking dirty ass trunk, like messy. I would never do that. I fucking hate my life if I had my trunk look like that.
If you have the box for a stereo head unit of your car and a plastic wrapped coconut in your trunk at the same time, you need to get a new vehicle.
I would I would like to draw our attention to the bottom left side of the cola box and notice the single can of cola down there, not inside of the box, which leads me to believe that there might be more in there.
I'll
Yeah,
give
I
you that.
think
Or
this.
that was the last one that rolled out.
It could be. It could be, but what's more like?
I think it's full.
I don't
I
think
think-
it's full.
I don't think it's full.
It's clearly opened. Like
Well,
if it was
sorry, I
full, it
think
would
there's
be
some in it. Is what I
everywhere.
mean.
I think the middle there is depressed a little bit, so we know we're at least halfway through that pack.
Oh yeah, there's
Further, for one to roll out and none to be showing at the front based on the force of how it would have had to move forward. I think that was the last one in the pack, or we'd see another one right there where it opens.
What in the max headroom is this?
yeah.
I want to know why they didn't take a picture and account for how many colas were there.
I would bet I would bet a sizable amount of money there's at least one can still in there.
In that box? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna go.
Isn't there an evidence list here somewhere?
You scroll through. There really is, but it's all the evidence list shit in there. Each piece of evidence has its own form. It's fucked.
all right,
It-
pull up the cola box form.
Rick, you're on it. I got enough shit here. Okay, so that's all the photos they really took, I think. Oh, no, then this is the apartment. Okay, so that's all the photos they took of the car, which isn't excessive amount, and I agree that there's probably should have been more checked into this. The next set of photos, I'm just keeping in order here. The next set of photos, we're gonna jump around a little bit because I don't really care. At some point, I think it was about 2011 or 20, it was probably later that 2013, I believe. Police got a tip from someone saying, "Oh, I found Joe Pichler on Grindr, and it looks exactly like him." Here is Pichler, what they sent the police saying as proof that this is his Grindr profile.
Imagine having your fucking Grindr profile sent to the police like that. Oh, that's mortifying. It's visibly not him.
it has similarities, but it doesn't.
It
look
looks
like
more
him.
like Bo Burnham than Joe
Yeah.
Pichler.
Yeah, it does. It looks like
Yeah.
Burnham for sure.
So
Yeah.
crazy. They thought that was him.
Yeah. So they found the guy. He was like 20 years old. Like Pichler would have been 30 at this point. He was like 20
Yeah.
years old.
Poor guy
And-
probably got fucking outed.
And
Yeah,
here's the
no,
side by
what
side.
the fuck?
Exactly. So they got a tip for Grindr. They looked into it though. I got to give the police more credit than I did last time. The police did a lot of work on this. I got to tell you right now. They did more. In fact, there's a letter in there from the DA, from the Washington DA, being like, "You guys are putting too much effort into this suicide. You got to stop."
Yeah,
so the
I
Bremerton
don't,
police got told to stop.
I don't care. I'm not gonna commend somebody for doing their job, but look at the picture. How it kind of looks like. So we got Joe Pichler, and then you got the guy who plays him in the reenactment on Unsolved Mysteries
Yeah.
directly to his right, where he's just like vaguely more handsome than the real person, but still fits like the demographic.
I'm not letting you get away with that. I'm not giving the cops credit for doing their job. What I'm doing is admonishing myself for saying they did nothing. And I don't agree with what I said before. They did more.
No, I don't care. Still, I don't think they deserve the added credit. Like I get what you're saying, and I'm glad that you want to rectify it, but being surprised that cops actually put in effort, it says everything it needs to say.
I'm not saying they did a good job because I've been saying
No, I personally think, honestly, all the notes here, all the leads run down, the conversations, I don't want to ruin too much. I don't know what you're talking about, but there's they go down a lot of different paths here and they keep everything open. I do want to actually give credit on this case. There's some that we've seen that are just horrendous. This one just wasn't advertised well.
I think they got tunnel vision though. They kept with their original plan of whatever it was, and they looked down that. That's what I think. Like it was suicide. Let's investigate this as a suicide. And they didn't do anything above and beyond. They didn't do any DNA testing. They didn't take fingerprints anywhere. Stuff like that.
I don't know though. I see
Simple.
like I see in some of this evidence they're talking about Joe's friend's tattoo that she supposedly got that was about him that they found on MySpace. Like they're digging into this.
For sure. But they still didn't take
You know why?
fingerprints.
I bet the captain on the case got laid by the Grindr dude and just wanted to keep it alive to get more Grindr dates without signing up for himself.
That's a great idea. All right, so here's the apartment. Cops did come to the apartment. They said they came for 5 minutes. That's what that's what the Pichler said. They were there for 5 minutes, in and out. They didn't do anything. I think that's a lie. They took a lot of pictures. They were there for a while at least. Did they do all the proper forensics and stuff while in there? No. So now another thing that I found out, I assume that they were playing Magic cards when they were hanging out that night. They were playing a game called Kings. It's like a drinking game. I don't know if you guys ever played, but that's
Oh,
what
I
they're
played Kings. Yeah.
yeah. So they were playing Kings. They were playing Magic cards. I figured that out through the thing, but he has a little bit of a tiki bar in his little apartment. Isn't that fun?
No.
That's right. It's not. There's this, lived in. They didn't look like they were getting too fucked up. If they were drinking at Joe's house for sure. That was up in the air from the last episode. They were at Joe's house for sure. There's only what 7 beer cans on the table, maybe. And I'm assuming a lot of these are from days before because apparently Joe drank a lot.
What is that a picture of on the wall?
Patrick Swayze. Let's zoom in to see what that is. I'm gonna go with it's Patrick Swayze. It looks more like Tom Hanks than like some sort
It
of
looks like him. It looks like Pichler.
Yeah, it's
in,
a
like,
spitting
some
image of this
getup.
guy I've seen on Grindr.
His face.
At first, I thought it was a painting of Lando Calrissian, and that would have been awesome.
He might have something like that too, because he does have like a Star Wars tattoo. He loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just more of his apartment. More of his apartment. Gross little bathroom. I thought when I had to zoom in to see if that was a beer in a shower or not, because I was like, that's sad. But no, it's a shampoo. Just a fucking living room with trash on the ground and stuff like that. Like I can't live with
Oh,
that.
what the fuck?
Yeah. That's the
Those
rest
like
of his bathroom.
wrappers or are those socks?
Those are jerk off tissues. That's my guess.
Did he live alone?
Yes.
Well, good for him.
Yes. Nothing really 20-year-old's apartment, really. They found his two laptops. They get some like serial numbers on the
Yo.
laptops.
I love the serial numbers on the laptops thing.
That's where they got the most pictures. They got like 5 or 6 pictures of the serial of the laptop. One of the laptops.
Yeah, you try and activate that now. Nah, the cops use it.
One of the
Yeah.
one of the laptops was one of his friends that his friend locked himself out of, and Joe worked at like a telecom place, and he was supposedly good with computers, so he was trying to unlock it for his buddy. So one of them's not his, one of them's his buddy's.
Did the buddy get it back?
Did his buddy get it back? Yes,
Yeah.
after eventually, yeah. But they couldn't get anything out of it anyway.
Rick, I love you challenging someone to claim a Windows Home XP product key.
Hey, it might be up for grabs. Try it.
Uh, Joe called home. That's when AJ went there the day after looking for him. He wrote that note. And they left. They had to take a picture of it, I guess,
Wait. You said that's AJ wrote that? Why does
Yeah.
it say Matt?
because
Joe
AJ's
called
real
home.
name is Matt.
Oh,
They just call him AJ. I couldn't figure out why. But his real name is Matt. Fucking Jaeger bombs. And
Oh, cool.
Captain
Look,
Morgan
whole bunch of things that you drink on top of a fridge.
mini fridge, yeah, and Windex,
Yeah.
and like a fridge full of condiments and burrito wrappers.
Hey, he's got Toll House in there, baby. He's making cookie dough burritos all day.
yeah. I don't know. His party's gonna be getting that crazy if he's like buying pre-made cookie dough so he can make cookies for everyone. Like I don't know.
No, I agree.
I don't know. Look at that horny Lois magnet he's got. He seems like a crazy guy.
So the next picture is just, I guess, a picture of, I guess, the front of his fridge with a photo of his friends. So they took a photo of his friends, and underneath that, it's like, I guess it's a fridge magnet holding up the photo, and it's horny Lois. Then they have a bunch of his bills, which aren't paid, a bunch of stuff that's overdue. There's some magic cards kind of strewn all over on a desk with some light bulbs.
But not out of place from the rest of the apartment.
Exactly. It doesn't look crazy.
Pal, I cannot fathom living like this.
Me neither.
But honestly, this pile, that's organized for him. I know for a fact that's what he considered organized.
I wonder if he just sat in there like up all night with like whatever kind of crazy mania, just goldfishing his fucking deck, just cross-legged in the closet on the floor.
I honestly, I zoomed into that. It looks like a bunch of commons, and it wouldn't be super rare for a pile like that to exist. It's not like they're like whipped all over the place digging through. That could just be somebody who doesn't give a fuck about those cards because he has 75 of each of them. There's stacks in his like closet. Those are all magic cards. That seems reasonable too for a bunch of commons. I couldn't figure out what card that was, so I'm assuming that's a common.
I like how the person taking pictures is like, I better get the front of one of them.
Yeah.
And they took the worst picture ever of it too. You can't even read the like it's not even a good picture. It's all blurry and shit. And the same thing, they took pictures of his nightstand or whatever with more pictures of his friends, and they're all super blurry. Like every picture is blurry now.
Why didn't they just take the picture?
They probably did, but
Yeah.
they probably took the photo for the placement of it.
And then this book, it gets so it says, I don't know, I guess it's a notebook, and it says on the front of it, "My peace of mind through the trials and tribulations, through time I will find." Okay.
I'm starting to think this guy was kind of a fucking douchebag.
Yes. So they're giving like where he lived, they're giving like a little picture of the neighborhood, and that's it for the photos. Okay. They took some photos. I don't know how helpful that was, but they were in the house for more than 5 minutes, so I'll give them that. So let's talk about, actually, you know what? I'll show you another one thing first, and then we'll talk a little bit about. There's a 911 call from Kathy Pichler. I believe this is called in on the 9th, like 4 or 5 days after. And I'm not going to give it away too much, but
911, what are you reporting? I cannot find my son. How old is he?
so I just wanted to start right there. She's
Wait,
annoyed.
did you not play this before? The first time we heard this was the FOIA?
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember listening to this and I was like, this is fucking
It's
outrageous.
so funny. It's just like, well, I'm just a big old silly head. I seem to have misplaced my boy.
She sounds to me pissed. Like she just wants to call the police and they're not picking up, so she calls 911. That's what I think she's going on here.
He's 19, but he normally comes by. He's got his own apartment. He normally comes by, like every couple days, and I haven't seen him in a week. And I sent another son over to his apartment last night, and the door was open. Everything was on, but he wasn't there. And that's not like him to leave the apartment open. And I went over there this morning, a little bit ago, and he's not there. And his manager is, looks right at his apartment. And he hasn't seen him since, he said he has not seen him in a week either, and I am so scared. He didn't show up to work last night. He's just missing.
Hold on just a second, I'm arriving.
Hang on just a second.
You know that 911 responder's like, oh, again, Pichler.
Has he ever not shown up to work?
No.
Where does he work?
He works at Teletech, and also at Discordia Games.
I'm sorry, he works where?
Teletech?
You're sure he hasn't done that in the past?
I'm positive.
When your other son was over there last night and found the door open and the TV on, did he go in?
Yes.
Did it look like someone had just left, or?
He didn't know. He just thought, wow, it's not like him to leave the door unlocked, so he sat down for a few minutes thinking maybe he just ran down to the store.
Didn't come back.
And he just didn't.
Anyway, she's just going to rhyme off the entire story. I just wanted you guys to hear it. She did call. She sounds a little annoyed. Fair enough.
But that's okay. So that started making me think, like, is she annoyed because she knows his antics? Like, is he up to shit like this often? Like using drugs, maybe? And
okay, we'll talk about that. A few things. Yeah, no, she doesn't know. He's all around to his parents. You know, when you're that age, you have like your parents, you tell their life, and then you have your own life. We start to notice that through that all this investigation, he kind of had his own life his parents didn't really know about. And not in like a crazy way, in my opinion, but maybe. But to his parents, he was a good kid. Now, here's a couple things. So when he turned 18, he got his trust fund, which was only about $50,000, which he spent quickly. He claims his manager took a bunch of his money and his mom took a bunch of his money, and he was having kind of problems with his mom at the time because of it. He said she's ripping him off, taking his money out of his account. He ended up spending up that $50,000 taking a trip to California with his friends, and he bought a brand new car, cash, that car that he has. And so that's kind of normal. His parents knew about that. 50 grand was gone. What he didn't tell his parents is he liked to gamble. He went to the casino a lot. His cousin actually told that to the police. He went to the gamble a lot. and he was dabbling in cocaine, not only weed, cocaine and mushrooms.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of people owed Joe money. Everybody keeps saying that Joe owed a bunch of money, and that's why he was killed by some fucking. This is one of the theories, is that he was killed by some drug dealers because he owed them so much money. The reality is Joe was way too generous with his money, and people owed him a shit ton of money all around. All his friends kind of leached off of him. I would say, from what I read, I could be wrong about that. That's just the impression that I get. But he was doing a shit ton of coke. Well, I say shit ton, but everybody that you talk to, that the police talked to, said that, yeah, Joe was doing cocaine. A couple friends weren't hanging out with him anymore because they were saying that like his house was becoming like a drug house and they don't want to be part of that. And the gambling. This brings us to another theory we didn't really talk about. Shauna's boyfriend, like his sister's boyfriend, was in jail, and he got a bunch of fucking info, and he told the police that like he was killed by certain family members, a group of people, and then they brought him up and they buried his body in the desert or whatever. Cool. Whether that's true or not, that's out there as a theory now. It sounds to me like kind of normal 18-year-old activity, especially with a bunch of money, like doing a little bit of drugs, testing out the waters, but could be that. Any thoughts on him spending his trust fund within a week, or him being mad at his parents?
Unsurprising.
Not surprising either. And his parents kind of forced him to come back. They make it sound like his mom makes it sound like he wanted to come back and like he was going to go back when he was done. He did not want to come back at all. And he was pissed about it too. That's one of the things that was said throughout. Okay, so money banditos is what the guy said. Some banditos killed him. Another thought that through reading this that the police kind of had, if it wasn't going to be suicide, another theory they threw out there is that he overdosed. And the kids that were at the party panicked and hid the body. Thoughts on just me saying that without throwing out any other information at all?
Sounds great.
Sounds like it could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Remember I told you guys about how the friend Cammie, she said she went to the car to go like hide some stuff before the police showed up. The police never actually okay, this apparently happened. Cammie even says she did it. She went to go get some mushrooms that he had in his car. They don't want the cops to find his mushrooms. But like the cops never interviewed Cammie at all, or anybody. Like they interviewed more people than what they think, but they didn't interview the 5 or the 4 main people that were there. They interviewed Justin, like his best friend that talked to at 3 or 4 in the morning, but everybody else they never interviewed. So I find that highly suspicious. And I think that happens right after Joe dies, or I say die because I think he's dead, or disappears is what really happened, is that they're all very active on his MySpace and they're all talk like a certain way. And then when he disappears, like the tone of the messages change to like a goodbye, like you're gone kind of thing, not like, oh, I'll see you soon. So it's really weird in that respect. All the MySpace messages are all laid out there. I don't know. I think they might have rifled through the magic cards after we said it, but I think this is probably what happened. I think Joe might have just overdid himself and they threw him in a pipe somewhere.
Yeah, I can't imagine a worse way to spend your time than doing blow and playing Magic.
They weren't playing Magic. They were playing drinking game.
Yeah, well.
Joe did have another suicide attempt that I found out about reading this. A couple months before, he tried to swallow a bunch of pills, and that didn't really work. Apparently, there was some more evidence on his computer that it was a suicide. There was another like suicide note that's not, I can't find it anywhere, but it was like written a bunch of times, edited a bunch of times, and it looked like a suicide note. And it was edited about a week before he actually went missing for like the 5th or 6th time. If it's suicide,
It's just crazy they never found a body. Like that's what's wild.
yeah, yes, it's true.
Like, a suicide that you don't find the body is tough. Like that's weird.
If you jump in the water, right, and that cold winter time, you could sink, and then by the time you're like, maybe your braces are weighing you down. I'm sarcastic to a point, but I mean like,
yeah, I don't know, maybe, but you would think you see the car parked there, that's the first thing you do. Like, I don't know. It didn't, I feel like when we looked at it on a map, it didn't seem like undredgeable, right? Like you could find a fucking body if you really wanted to check if there was a body there.
now, as far as let's talk about dredging, they never dredged. Okay. They did go out with search and rescue like boats and shit and try to like look for a body. They got a bunch of tips saying that they thought they saw a body. In fact, one of them was a body they found. It wasn't Joe's body. So I'm with you. I don't think if it was
If
suicide,
you find one body there, it's like, you know what? It's not the guy we're looking for. Better just dredge anyway. Let's see how many cases we can close today. Like, you're already there. Fucking call them up. Get it going.
agreed. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
You got annoying Kathy Pichler just fucking driving you bonkers. Just do it. Just get it over with. Then you can't be
I
called.
think that's crazy. Yeah, they just held off on doing it.
Okay, Justin told police in his interview that Joe's older brother came threatening him. So Justin's like they came by and like his family came by to Justin's house and said, "I'm gonna fuck you up, you killed my brother." So they probably thought that he OD'd or something, and they went and accused the friend. So that's a little scary. He's been on a new car, says that he was kicked out of his house. So he moved out of his house because he was kicked out. His parents kicked him out because he was partying too much and he broke a window at the house. So the parents said, "Get the fuck out." So anyways, they ran down. I'm gonna say the police are actually did a better job than I thought. They ran down and it still have been running down leads. And I'm talking like all leads. There's a shit ton of different leads that they ran down here. So they spoke to everyone involved in the case, people that were at the party. They didn't interview them, but they spoke with them. They also talked to psychics, astrologists, fucking tipsters, drunks, addicts. They even saw a bounty hunter who was out looking for him. I just love how they had to go like talk down the bounty hunter. That's fun to me. They did some interviews with some people that were recorded. These are just tipsters that came in. They're kind of druggies. I want to show you Justin, one of the guys here. Rick picked some good clips. I'm gonna play the first little bit of it so you guys can see the first little bit of it.
So you can see what the police had to fucking deal with on this case.
Yes. So let me open this here. I'm going to show you the first 5 minutes of this, then I'll just show you the clips that Rick got up. But between all three videos, there's 3 videos of this. It's about an hour and a half long interview with this guy. And this isn't what you'd want to be doing as a police officer.
Break it down. I'll show you how.
He's in his headphones right now.
He's
by
hyping himself
himself.
up.
He's got a 50 Cent song, and he'll talk about it right off the bat.
Your first name's James, right?
What?
What's your first name? James?
No, my name is Justin.
Justin.
My name is not that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
What's your last name again?
Wells.
Yeah, okay. Hey, this
You
is
know the cop
Detective
did that on
Parker.
purpose.
Hello, detective.
Hello. What time are you putting? 14:41. Okay. Hey, just a little while ago, I asked you if it was okay if we recorded our interview, and that was
Yeah,
okay
I
with
gave
you?
you consent.
Cool. Okay.
What do you got on, man? I hear something.
What do you mean? Oh, this is just an MP3 player. I'm listening to 50 Cent. It's a song. It's called "You Like My Style," and the hook, the chorus is like, "I know you like my style. You like how I break it down." It's real cool, man. It's just real kind of catchy, and it's it's perfect timing. I would say. Let's get to brass tacks.
I understand you have some information about Joe Pichler.
You could legit just sit and watch this interview for the full 30 minutes.
Deduced information. It's like deduction, inferred logic. It's some of it's speculation, but I mean, to me, it adds up absolutely perfectly. And I believe that James Boyson committed the murder on Joe Pichler.
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Well, for short, it's Joe Pichler.
No, I know who Joe Pichler is, but the kid.
James Boyson.
Okay, so he's saying it's a guy named James Boyson. I want that to be clear because there's another thing that comes up very soon with James Boyson. So he's saying it's a guy named James Boyson. All inferred logic, fits perfectly to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's no real evidence. It just fits perfectly to me. All right.
I mean, do you have any first-hand knowledge?
Yes, he has rehearsed methods by which he would kill me. He's had me over to his house on a couple of occasions, and he has foreshadowed certain naive or innocent enough things by mentioning them in passing and then making good on them and then testing different kinds of methods that he would lure me into his element, bait me into his element, like with video games, memories, my ego, my desire for friends, because I was in such a poor way.
Ice cream, candy,
I was suffering. I was going through
cool
suffering.
toys.
I ain't woken up or nothing like that. I was, being humbled, I guess you might say. And he appealed to me, and I accepted the label of friendship, be put on that relation, just because I was ready to forgive and accept that.
You know what perfectly sums this guy up? The tented fingers.
Yeah, he does it the whole time too.
So it's what guys who like think they understand what smart people do and do to like emulate. Like it's everything this guy is. he has foreshadowed and baited me to into his element. What?
Okay.
James, the man that James had become, and for the sake of forgiveness and out of respect for the memories that he and I shared together. In any case, on one visit, he's showing me around his place or whatever, and he has in his back room a punching bag or whatever, and he makes a comment about oh yeah, I'm gonna get this removed, then I'm gonna get a breakdancer, man. I don't need this anymore, whatever. He didn't need a punching bag. He had already tried his strength on like orderlies and nurses and doctors and stuff like that over at Western State. I mean, he had really put his fists on real people, so he didn't need a punching bag. Bag don't hit back. He had already tested his strength. So he got rid of that, and then he was like, I'm gonna get a linoleum mat so I can break dance. I was like, oh, cool, right on, man, that's awesome, and I was kind of like, that's real cool, because, you're not like practicing putting your hands on people. You want to like bust out some dance. That's cool, man. I like that. I used to pop and everything back in the day. Used to be like a little.
The face of that cop is when you walk into the gas station to give them money to fill up your tank, and the guy says, oh, hi, how are you? And you say, good, how are you? And you get the entire fucking life story back, and you're just standing there like, oh, fuck.
James Boyson sounds like this guy's actually only friend that's actually really nice to him. He's like, he plays video games with me, and he doesn't want to like, he wants to just want to play against me, wants to play with me. What's up with that? I'm like, he wants to kill me. Like, what are you talking about?
Boy of sorts or whatever, so I dig that culture, man. I lived it for a little while, and my timelines are a little off, but at the time, with the knowledge that I had, I understood that Joe Pichler was missing. I had walked by or whatever, and I had seen the missing sign. And in a conversation that he and I had while I was in his company, he said to me that Joe Pichler killed himself. I was like, what? I omitted to him during that time that it was, to my knowledge, he was only missing. Now, I don't know if the police department had ever released, or his family had ever released, any information regarding a suicide note and a vehicle being placed out behind a Mexican restaurant whose name translates into the Hunters. There's been a person making emails and making false allegations and harassing that family, mocking them, I take it. And then his car and his personal belongings and a suicide note and his medications and everything else are, he goes missing here. And then 4 days later, his car shows up behind the Hunters. And I just come to find out today that this child that I met that's part of their family is named Hunter.
There you go. Solved.
God damn. He solves cases like we solve cases. He called the police up. He said, listen, I've been sitting on this one for a while.
He named his kid Hunter. Yeah. What do you want? What do you want? Okay, this goes on, like, it's literally, I'm telling you, this James Boyson guy's like, he tells him at some point, he's like, are you okay? He says, oh, he asked me, he's like, are you okay? You hearing voices? You have like you must have schizophrenia or something. Are you everything okay with you? And he's like, I talked to my friend. My friend says he's asking you that because he's writing your suicide note. He's like, no, he's asking you that because he's your friend and he feels bad for you, you piece of shit. Then you go to the cops saying he murdered someone.
Yeah, that's what it is. This really just feels like a personal thing he's got against James.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just like, you know what, James? Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make sure that you go down for Joe Pichler's murder. How's that sound? What if I foreshadow that and take that from your element, James, and bring it into their element?
What if we gather that magic, huh, James?
Well, you got to see more of this guy because he's fucking hilarious. The whole hour and a half, like I watched it 2 different times because I was laughing so hard the first time. I was like, okay, I got to
Do you know
listen
which
this time.
clip this is?
You called it Coffee Oasis.
Okay, this is fucking fantastic.
I don't want to get into that tale. I already told it today. I'm not telling it again. I'm leaving that.
I'm sorry.
Honorably discharged.
The preface to that is he's talking about why he got discharged from the army. And he's like, I don't want to tell you why I got discharged from the army.
Which is okay. I'm
Red flag.
Yeah, without question. And
Yeah.
and I guess like fair in a certain sense, but the balls to say the words, I don't want to tell that tale when you're sitting by your own volition and giving a sworn statement
Well,
is crazy.
let's continue this because he doesn't stand by that. He proceeds
Yeah,
to tell to tell the story
Well,
after he says, I don't want to tell the story.
He needs a minute for the brain electricity impulses to surge through his fingers so he can concoct story through his own perspective and why it's not his fault and it's really the United States military that's wrong.
I wish that's where it went. I was on the edge of my seat. I was hoping for that. I really was.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
And you know, intelligent fellas like myself, we tend to expose ourselves to experimentations that the military would like to perform upon us in our elements.
There's a point in this where he goes like, I'm not, he goes, James is educated. He finished high school. He's like, I never finished that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Can you remind me what town are they in
Bremerton, Washington.
Oh, okay. These are Pacific Northwest fellows.
Yes, I got honorably discharged, but it was like a big old. It was a lot of deceit going on, man.
So when
I was trying to be a soldier, I was like a real dude trying to be a soldier. What I want to do, like, you know, here's a problem with like Joe. Like when I was in the military, when I was in Iraq, right? I had just re-enlisted for 5 years. I wanted to be an infantryman. I wanted to continue to serve my country and do well and be in the army. It was like something I believed in, right? The integrity, the public service and everything else, right? But it was killing me that all these problems was, you know, that I was so far away from my family. So I re-enlisted for 5 years and a PCS to Fort Lewis, Washington, so that I could be closer to my family and still be in the military. I had like something to look forward to, right? When I got back from Iraq, you know, but when I came back from mid-tour leave, my squad leader was dead. The other team leader in my squad was dead. I had a full new chain of command. It was, I mean, there's a long story to it, man, but I mean, like, everything was different. You know, I had like a sergeant who was like hazing me and like projecting a racism onto me, and I ain't never known racism my whole life. Do some of my best friends growing up, you know, some of my
just for clarity for everyone, this is the whitest guy in the fucking world.
Friends or associates or people that I've run into,
despite his
like,
attempts to try not to sound that way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, there was no race thing, man. I never seen it like that. I was never a racist, you know. There are people that I hated, but it was usually because, you know, you hating on somebody else or something. Like, there's something flawed in you, man. Like, it was nothing like, I don't know. I can't describe it, dude. But
I want to take a 5-second break and just everyone has to realize that these 2 police officers that are interviewing them are just sitting there letting them talk. They're not
taking it.
They're just taking it, and you can tell they don't want to, but they're like, "This is how we get information. As long as he's talking, we don't need to ask questions." Oh my god!
Yeah,
this is great. And if I'm them, I'm going, "Oh, there's a good chance he's going to tell us he killed Joe."
Yeah, that's like that's where this is going to end.
And they're like, well, James sounds pretty smart if he could do something like that. Well, you know, I mean, honestly, James would only get his ideas a lot of time from things that I pontificated on. He's a bit of an intelligence thief, as one would elaborate him to be.
Your guy in Iraq,
It wasn't a platoon leader. It was my squad leader.
squad leader. Okay.
Yeah, Sergeant Butcher. But see, here's the thing. Like at the beginning of the deployment, see, I don't even know why we're talking about this. But the point is like I got pushed to a limit. I got pushed to a point where I gave up on all my hopes and aspirations. I gave up on everything. I decided not to kill or kill myself. Such was my distress. And in doing so, I did nothing. Now, Joe Pichler, he was a man of aspiration, right? 2 months until he gets his braces undone, was aspiring to go back to California to resume his acting career, was passionate about it, had just started working at a job for 2 months. Teletech pays pretty well. Plus, he was working at Discordia, which is like just fun and games all day. Joe Pichler was a people person. Teletech was probably easy for him. All he did was talk to people and help people with their phones all day, help people communicate. Come on, man. And then you go to his other job at Discordia and he's playing card games and like chilling with friends and working in an environment he likes. You telling me a kid like that is gonna like write a suicide letter to his brother saying he wish he would have been a better brother and had a bunch of personal belongings inside a vehicle parked outside of a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, which was his favorite food, which is named The Hunters. Dude, last night, I had a Spanish man, a Mexican man, I guess like Native American, Hispanic descent or something like that, but no Spanish, man. This guy couldn't sleep. He had been snowboarding.
I fucking hated him.
For like 3 days or whatever, right up on the slope, slept all day, and then couldn't sleep and came to me, right? And I'm sitting here looking at this restaurant, like, where's this restaurant? What's the significance of the restaurant? Okay, here's point A where he goes missing. 4 days later, point B, his car is found, immaculate condition, no sign of foul play. That's suspicious.
Where do you say he went missing? What's point A?
Magnuson, like Avenue or whatever, like his home or whatever.
Okay.
Like 2000 Magnuson Way or something like that. Up to Sheridan and Wheaton Way behind a restaurant. Dude, this guy, I was like, this restaurant, that's kind of weird. Like, there was a point in my life where I wished for death, man. Like, my suffering was such, I wished for death. I wanted somebody to mercy kill me, man. I walked across the bridge and to a hospital and checked myself in and told a bunch of people I was thinking about killing people just so they'd see me as a threat and kill me and put me out of my misery, right? Because my battalion commander always said, you see the threat, you kill the threat. Anyways, but it just seems so weird that the man would go from here, drive past a hospital drunk to the point where he can't stop drinking and doesn't know how to drink. But like, go missing here. 4 days later, his car ends up here, and there's a suicide note written in it about wishing he would have been a better brother and, blah, 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 and, whatever.
How do you know about that?
I read it on the internet.
About the being a better brother?
It was on the internet.
Was it?
Yeah. It was just released, I presume, because when I Googled, there was like alert. And
When I was
all the information
preparing
was right
to
there. Bam, it just
make
fit
this
together.
up.
Now check this out, right, man? Check this out. This man Cameron that came to me that spoke Spanish and translated the name The Hunters, right? This kid was snowboarding, right? How about the coffee oasis? I dig coffee, man. Yesterday I had a trial by fire. How about today the special is avalanche? How about the man that came to me because my brother Michael had said to him, had made like a joke about, being out of shape or whatever, and it was, chest parts, whatever, boobies, I guess. And that's the reason why Cameron came over. Plus, he couldn't sleep. Plus, Joe Pichler had a guinea pig named Boobies, man.
Is that on the internet too?
Yeah, I read it on the webpage. That just miraculously came out of nowhere. Like, it was just, the information was just given to me. And I put it all together, and it makes way too much sense.
What's the webpage? What webpage?
You know what, man? Man boobs! Come on!
We need to do more FOIAs, is what we've learned.
Yeah, that's...
And this is crazy. I mean, he basically came in and was like, listen, I solved it.
Holy fuck.
All right, there's another 2 minutes of this. I forget what comes up after this.
It was just like endangered missing teen. Before it was just like on a missing persons list. I had looked it up before, but I didn't have enough evidence or enough things that I believe. I was, like I said, I was divided. I wasn't bold. I was undecided. Now I'm like decided and concrete. And I'm ready to enter into a testament against this man. Like he killed James Boyson, man. Come on. I mean, come on. I'm talking to a guy on the phone.
We should do that whenever like we come up with the crazy. Just come on, man. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
I'm telling you, he's just looking for people to podcast with. If these two said to record a podcast this week, he'd be it.
Telling me, and this guy is like a guy who's like so vain and so smart and so like I'm so good. I shut people down. He's like, yo, where, you ever seen a black toilet seat? And I'm like, I could just sense his like right out. I'm like, yeah, I seen a black toilet seat. He's like, where at, man? On a toilet. And he's like, yeah, but where? I'm like, a bathroom. And he's like, you got too much spice in you, man. You got too much spice and you need to be more base, man. Like, I would expect you to say Walmart. I'm like, nah, brother, you ask ambiguous questions, you're going to get ambiguous answers. That's the bottom line, man. If you ain't put what you asking into a context, I can't give you nothing. If you're not asking for it right, I can't give it to you the way you want it. And so this guy's telling me I'm too spicy, and I'm like, you know what? That's probably because of all the pepper I eat. Or maybe it's, got to do with something with me being tortured and subjected to a simulated death in Iraq where I died and didn't experience death, or there was death and I didn't die, however you would word that. Maybe it's all the pepper I eat. Maybe it's an overactive adrenal gland. Maybe it's just hostility. I said all this stuff to him, man. And then, I'm like, yo, I left like a gang of messages on his phone, dog. A gang of messages. Like, he knows, man.
On James's?
No. I'm talking about another dude. His styles.
This was weeks ago that I edited this, and I forgot why I added in that extra like minute or two after Coffee Oasis, and it was because he just goes completely fucking off track on some other guy that he fucking hates.
Hell, you know what happened? He was at James' house and he was like, all right, dog, I'm gonna take off. And James is like, all right, man, yeah, I'll see you, want to see you. And he's like, all right. And then he like stopped because he forgot something. And then he like heard from around the corner, James in the other room to everybody else left, like, yeah, man. And the way that I like to elaborate things and sit in my element, and everyone's erupting in laughter. So then Justin just tears down his face. Just storms into the police station like, I would like to report a murder.
This next clip might just prove what you just said correctly.
Like at a slumber party, we're sitting there playing cards or whatever.
So is this not like a 27-year-old man?
Is this the swaggering one that
Yeah.
I clicked? Wow, that was a good lead-in. I didn't realize that's how it started.
Yeah, for sure. And this is him talking about, because he's been friends with Boyson his whole fucking life. They've been hanging out since kids. And this is him talking about, like, this is more evidence. Like, when we were kids, this is what he did. What you just said, like, guaranteed. He's just like, they've grown apart and they hung out at one point. And he's like, oh, God, I hate this guy so much. And then this guy here's like, fuck him, I'm going. Telling the cops.
Like at a slumber party, we're sitting there playing cards or whatever. And everybody's being loud. Her mother comes out, or his mother comes. Her mother, I call it. I didn't mean anything by that. It was a slip of the tongue. Maybe it wasn't. No, but seriously, his mother comes out and she asks us to be quiet because she's trying to sleep. And we're young kids, we're all being loud or whatever, But he had like two friends come over from Seattle, and it was these two kids, Justin and Jarrell, so I don't know, he wanted to flex in front of his friends or whatever to make an impression. And he calls me out telling me to shut the F up. You gonna wake my mother. I'm like, what you talking about? You being as loud as I am. And somehow I had we had all been laying next to one another like this. Like Justin was on my left, Jarrell was on my right, and two African American kids. And it was funny we shamed the name and James and Jarrell. It was just interesting, right? And then me and James in the middle, lying next to each other playing cards. But somehow, like when he was like talking, and I somehow distanced myself from him, that I was like 5 feet away from where, and he threw a flashlight at my face. He said, shut the F up, and threw a flashlight at my face. I said to him, it was kind of a weird thing to say, because, like, you know, throw another flashlight at me, that sounds almost silly. I was like, you throw one more flashlight in my face, I'm going to beat your ASS. This kid threw another flashlight on me. I was on him before I thought about it, dude. I mean, I was beating this kid. I mean, I was beating him so hard.
Can we visit the fact that he thinks it's illegal to swear in front of the cops?
It's like the third or fourth time where he wanted to say man boobs, but he's like, man chest area. The ASS. I'm gonna beat his ASS. Meanwhile, you're talking about assaulting the guy. They don't care about that part, but this is when they're like 10. That's what I love. It's like 12-year-old kids having a sleepover, and like they got in a fight, and he's like, "This is proof, man."
Yeah, this is all things that he needed to tell to his therapist from the VA that he didn't go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I mean, this is just textbook psychosis. Is what's happening.
Yeah, I used to do comedy with a guy like I used to do comedy with lots of guys like this, but one who was especially like this.
Whooping him so bad, like he couldn't even fight back. He couldn't even fight back. My fury, my expertise, my commitment, my rage, my wrath, my revenge, my retribution, whatever you want to call it, was so thorough and was so called for that I just lumped him up. And when I couldn't get to his face, I just beat him on the crown of his head. And my fist started to hurt because I was hitting this dude in the bony part of his head, beating his face up. And then I was like choking him out. I was like, James, I will effing kill you. I will kill you. I will end your life, man. I will choke the life right out from you. And this kid's face was turning purple, man. I mean, it's turning purple to the point where I was like, you know, I had to let him go or I was going to kill him. I had to let him go or I was going to kill him. You know, we was in like the 6th grade when this happened, man.
We were like in 6th grade when this happened. My God.
Yo, he didn't put up a fight or nothing. He just took it, dude. He took it. This kid was bleeding out his face. He was lumped up and bruised so bad. And then, like, when I'm like, I get up, then he want to strike back. Then he want to, like, kick me in my chest as I'm getting up off him after I just laid into him. And I'm like, you want to kick me after I let you up? I'm like, you know, stand up like a man and hit me. Stand up like a man and hit me. Fight me if you really a man. Like, I'm calling him out, dude. I'm like, if you really do, this kid's taller than me, man. I'm like, you really do stand up and fight me. Stand up and fight me. And so he stands up, and this dude's so cowardly, dog. He got to stand to my left, and he's talking to these dudes like a straight up sucker puncher, man. And he's like, so what you're saying is you want me to hit me, like he's talking to his friends. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I told you, dude. And then he pie-yaw with an elbow to the side of my head. Dude, I didn't even feel it, man. I was already like getting the initiative back on him, swinging him around through the room. And then finally, yo, his friends didn't step in for him not one time because they probably knew he deserved it, man. He deserved it. This kid, like, you know, picking on people, being a bully, being
is that
malicious.
When you guys were still kids?
This is when we were kids, man. But you know what? The next morning, like,
I like how the cops just like, okay, is this when you're kids? Come on, let's move on.
That guy on the left is so mad.
Oh yeah, he's pissed.
You can see how agitated he is.
Try something when I'm sleeping. You just snuck me with an elbow. You think I'm gonna go to sleep with you, right next to you? You just snuck me with an elbow, man, like a coward, like a snake, you know. And then the next
if he's
morning,
like that, do you think he could kill somebody?
I absolutely do think he would kill somebody, and I think that he would go after somebody that's weaker than him. But the problem is, he's so blinded by his own brilliance. He's so blinded by his own brilliance, he thinks we on the same level, or he thinks that he better than me. But he ain't better than me. He can't beat me unless he sneaks me. He can't beat me unless he cheats me. He'd have to be the most vilest, wickedest. Today, he couldn't beat me.
Well, I mean, he knew Joe then? He hung out with him?
No, he never hung out with him. He resented Joe. He was jealous of Joe. Joe was the movie star, had all the friends. You know, this is the thing about James. James was real smart, but he wasn't a people person, man. He was like a social pariah, dude. I got the girls for both me and him. His girlfriend, Star, yo, he got because I sweet talk both them honeys. Straight up.
How would he get to Joe? I mean, what do you think?
a similar interest.
So
Magic the
has
Gathering. He confessed to me that he played Magic the Gathering with Joe, and then he says that Joe committed suicide. And I'm looking it up on my end, and there ain't nothing about no suicide.
I mean, like
now.
any, when he was playing cards with Joe?
I don't know.
I mean, this is close to the time of his death, or
I don't know, dude. When Joe Pichler died, I was in the military serving my country.
This guy's got a crazy theory that James Boyson, Mr. Boysenberry, is doing it just because he got in a fight with him when he was a kid. And
goddamn, is he convincing?
Just for fun, I'll show you the other guy that they interviewed, the other guy that came in. I'm not gonna give a long clip of him. I just want you guys to see him I want you two to see him for a second, the other people to hear him just for a second.
I don't know why you're gonna extend this when we already got Justin's perfect solve.
That's true. I just want you to see
I
this.
don't know why we would. Okay.
I just want you to see this guy. That's all. Like, he's literally says the cops are just asking him at a certain point, like, when did this happen? He's like, oh, we were all doing meth. Like, you're like, okay, this guy's just a meth head trying to get a free drink out of the police today.
Oh my fuck.
This is a couple years later, too, in 2013. I forgot what his name is right off the top of my head right here, but let's just see him for a couple seconds so you guys can laugh.
Hey, do you have like your ID card on you?
I do not. I lost it.
You lost it?
Yeah.
Let me get a little bit of info from you. So is it
Bouton?
T-O-N.
Yeah, you can pronounce it Bhutan. My dad's French.
But how did you actually pronounce it?
Bouton.
Bouton. Okay.
I like how he tells the cop, you can pronounce it Bhutan if you want. Well, how do you actually pronounce it? Button. Or whatever the fuck you just said. Like, why would you tell him to pronounce it differently than what it is?
What's your first name?
James.
And how about a middle initial for you?
B.
Yeah, what's your date of birth?
April 23rd, 1985.
I feel like this might be James under an assumed identity. No ID. James. Bhutan. I mean Bouton. Middle name.
Boyson. It's not Boyson.
B.
That's Bremerton, Washington. 98310.
And what's a good phone number for you?
I don't really have a number. That's why I just showed up. 360-373-3745. That's my parents.
Is that parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of don't really talk at the moment.
Okay, so let me just real quick. I mean, you realize you're not in trouble, right? So
okay, yeah.
I know we kind of got the door closed here for privacy,
sir.
but you're free to leave anytime. You understand that?
Well,
Okay.
I know.
And I just want to make sure we have your permission to record this interview.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, hey, I just got briefed on this. There's been a detective that's been working it for several years,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I think I met him before, but that's because I used to date the daughter, Samantha Pichler.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to see if I had assisted some. I don't know if I remember all the names, so if I have to have you remind me, I might have to do that. So, yeah. Did you ever talk to Detective Gray?
On the phone when they were asking for Sam.
Oh, okay.
This is 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a female detective. Does that sound right?
Actually, it was a guy.
Was it a guy?
Yeah, it was some guy, some investigator guy or something. I didn't really know much about it.
So, did you meet with Officer Rivera? You had a little bit of info?
Yeah, yesterday. I was in the hospital because I caught an ulcer.
Okay, that's not good.
Yeah, and alcohol and all that. And then, I requested a detective and an officer in the hospital, but they were like, you got to do that on your own time. So I was like, all right. So when I got out, I was just like, man, I'm just going to call Kathy, That's Joe's mom. So I gave her a buzz, and then she met me down at Harrison. And we decided to call on the officer, and she asked me if it was okay, and I was like, yeah, That's when I met officer.
Was Kathy there when the officer showed up?
Yeah.
She hanging out?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was out there.
All right. And let me ask why'd you decide to call after being in the hospital there? Or?
Just going in yesterday and just my body. I used to be bigger and everything, but then I got into like dealing meth and all of that and just, doing it. And I don't know, it's just like, it's tearing like my friends apart and my family. And I don't know, but I just pretty much need to just stop. I'm not getting any younger, man.
Well, like this info, how old is it?
I've known it for roughly about 2 weeks. And
Yeah, so that's about as entertaining as that guy is. Not very, but I just wanted to show you the crackheads were coming out. Like,
for sure.
And his story's just like somebody else told them that they knew where the body was. It's in some corrugated pipe somewhere. That's what he keeps saying. Okay.
Well, that's very helpful. And by dated the daughter, I'm sure he meant stalked for the better part of 3 months.
Probably. Basically, I just wanted to show you what we came through. I don't think there's anything much more to this case unless the cops, unless they find a body, we're really never going to know too much more. I do want you to know one thing, though. Another person was accused, I forget what his name was, and the cops came around, asking questions to this guy. And I guess the dad got wind of it, and the dad called the police department. Not very impressed.
Message 1.
Yes, Chief Rogers, Robert Bodies. Right now I'm a little bit disturbed and upset. So, in reference to this Joe Pichler and them going down, Detective Davis going down to Texas, interviewing my son on a crime tip or stop that he killed somebody and we're covering up for him. I tell you what, if somebody puts that allegation out there and stuff, there's going to be some big trouble in the Bremerton Police Department and stuff. And I'm not threatening anyone. This isn't a threat. This will be handled in a legal way and stuff. But I'm really confused. My son is an outstanding young man doing good in the Air Force, and he ain't killed nobody and stuff. So I don't know if this is something personal or with whatever, but whoever's doing with whatever they're doing, they better be real careful. So you can give me a call at 337. Have a nice day.
Yeah, so I remember that story from the file. One of the crackheads came in and said Robert Body did it. And they went down to Texas and they actually pulled him out of his detail to question him in front of his superior officers, which is probably super awkward.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But what's even more embarrassing, having dad call the cops to ream them out for you. Like they're your fucking social studies teacher.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. Getting daddy to call after was probably more embarrassing.
That saying that he killed somebody and stuff, and nothing makes you sound less prepared to actually handle this issue than following everything with and stuff.
I just love threaten. This isn't a threat.
Yeah.
Threaten.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it legally, so it's not a threat. That's still a threat. You're just not going to be fucking beating the shit out of someone. You're going to be going through lawyers. What are you talking about? Anyways, I think we beat
loser.
Yeah, I think we beat Joe Pichler to death here.
Whoa, you did it?
It was me.
You
beat the entire time.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Why'd we do all this?
The subject of Joe Pichler to death. I don't think we can, unless they find. I'll never do another update on this unless they actually find a body or something. Then maybe we'll talk about it again. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence whether the kids just killed him for his magic cards or if he OD'd. I think maybe he might have OD'd and the kids kind of hit him because they're all. A lot of the names. Remember, I was saying the names aren't out there. The names are in the FOIA, and I went digging to see if I could find any of these people. The only guy you could find is their friend Justin on the internet. The rest of them are either private accounts or something because none of them are found. And I don't know. I feel like
this is what, 15, 16 years ago or something, right?
Yeah, it would have been 2006. So yeah, 18 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, they're all probably around 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be a little younger. I think they were all 1988 kids. So they'd be
okay.
35, 36.
Yeah, it's a hell of a
Whoever they are, they
secret
should
to
teach
keep.
people how to hide bodies because holy fuck.
Yeah.
This one does not feel like it should have been hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right too. Both of you guys. I think like yes, that's a hell of a secret to keep for so many years. It'd be something else. It's hard to
I
keep
don't think
secrets.
that's not the case. I just mean like that's crazy. That's if anything, it's impressive.
Yeah. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Is all I'm saying. I think it's very hard to do, but I don't want to accuse them of anything either. More likely, honestly, I don't know if that's a suicide note, but I mean, and Rick's right on that. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Rick's right on that. Like, without finding a body at this far down the juncture, like just jumping in the river.
It's hard to
probably
call it a
sounds-
suicide though, and it's also hard to call it them hiding his body after he ODs. Like, I don't know. To kill someone in such a small area, to have so much evidence of like his vehicle and all these different accounts based on where he might have been at some time, who he might have called. It just feels weird that you couldn't pinpoint down to an area and find the body.
Maybe it is druggies then. Maybe it's he owed a bunch of money to drug debts and like some fucking gangsters took care of him because that shit happens too.
Was he famous enough to like sell himself to be on like live display in Bezos's garage or something?
No, you know what? That would be so fucking cool. Like if that was like actually a billionaire thing. Like, hey, you know that person who disappeared and they never found him? Haha, look in the corner.
Just the Bezos.
And you're like,
just loves
holy shit! I did a FOIA request on you. That's crazy. It was good seeing you. See you later.
Like Bezos just loves all the Beethoven movies. Like if we checked up on anybody else that was in the Beethoven movies, we'd be just making them.
He's
breathe
got
through them.
every one of the dogs stuffed like in just like around the room in different poses.
All right,
of
we're
the
filming
synchronized.
Beethoven's 15th. You're not even filming. Just do the script.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.